Capricorn, if you found this message today, July 29th isn't a coincidence. The buck full moon is revealing a turning point that could change your path forever. For months you've carried invisible pressure, unanswered questions and silent battles. But tonight the universe shines a powerful light on what must end and what is finally ready to begin. Stay until the end, because your final message may be the one your soul has been waiting to hear. 1. Why July 29th is different for Capricorn. Every full moon carries a message, but not every full moon arrives with your name written across the sky. Tonight is different. The buck full moon, named for the season when new antlers rise strong and fast, pushing through what used to be soft and unformed, is not a gentle moon. It is a moon of growth that cannot be stopped, of strength that insists on showing itself whether you feel ready or not. For you, Capricorn, this matters more than most signs realize. You are ruled by Saturn, the planet of time, structure, and mastery. You already understand what it means to wait, to build slowly, to earn what others are simply handed. So when a moon like this rises, one built entirely around sudden, undeniable growth, it doesn't just pass over you, it presses directly against everything you've been holding in place. That is why, if you are watching this today, you may already feel it, a restlessness under your usual composure, a sense that something is shifting, even though nothing around you has visibly changed yet. This is the buck moon's first gift to you. It exposes what has been true underneath the surface for a long time. The universe does not choose July 29th by accident for a sign like yours. Capricorn energy strengthens dramatically during lunar phases like this one, because the moon activates your emotional undercurrents, the parts of you that you rarely show anyone, the parts you've disciplined yourself to keep quiet. Tonight, that discipline loosens. Tonight, what you've buried under responsibility and routine rises closer to the surface than it has in months. This is not a night of chaos. It is a night of exposure, gentle but undeniable. The universe is not trying to hurt you by revealing hidden truths. It is trying to free you from carrying them alone any longer. So if today feels heavier, more emotional, more reflective than usual, that is not weakness. That is your sign responding exactly as it should to a moon built for turning points. 2. The chapter that's quietly ending. There is a chapter of your life that has already ended. You may not have marked it with a date or a decision. Capricorns rarely close doors with drama. But somewhere in the last few months, something inside you shifted its weight from "I'm still trying" to "I'm simply done trying that way anymore." Think about the emotional burdens you've been carrying, the responsibility you took on because no one else would, the worry you kept private because you didn't want to seem like you couldn't handle it, the disappointment you swallowed because expressing it felt like admitting failure. These weights served a purpose once. They kept you moving, kept you responsible, kept you strong when strength was the only option. But weight that once protected you can, over time, become weight that only exhausts you. Some relationships in your life have also quietly stopped serving the purpose they once did. Not necessarily people who hurt you. Sometimes it's simply people who knew an older version of you, a version that doesn't quite fit anymore. Habits, too, have started to feel less like comfort and more like obligation. The routines you built to protect yourself may now be the very things standing between you and who you're becoming. This is the part few people talk about honestly. Letting go rarely feels like relief in the moment. For a grounded, loyal sign like yours, release often feels like failure at first, like giving up on something you should have been able to fix. But that is not what is happening here. What is happening is far more important. You are making space. Every burden you release, every relationship that fades because its purpose is complete, every habit that no longer fits, all of it clears room for something the universe has been waiting to give you, but couldn't because your hands were already full. Tonight's moon isn't asking you to force any endings. It's simply revealing what has already ended, so you can finally stop carrying the weight of pretending otherwise.
3. The signs. The universe has already sent before a turning point becomes obvious. The universe rarely stays silent. It sends signs first, quiet ones, easy to dismiss, but unmistakable once you notice the pattern. If you look back over the last few weeks, Capricorn, you'll likely realize you've already been receiving them. Maybe you've been seeing the same numbers again and again on clocks, receipts, license plates, appearing so often it stopped feeling random. Numbers like these are often described as gentle nudges, reminders that you are being watched over during a period of change, even when you can't yet see where that change is leading. Maybe you've had conversations that came out of nowhere, an old friend reaching out after years of silence, a stranger saying something that stayed with you far longer than the moment itself lasted, a comment that answered a question you never said out loud. These aren't coincidences to a sign as perceptive as yours. They are confirmations, arriving exactly when you needed to hear them. Perhaps your dreams have felt different lately, more vivid, more emotional, harder to shake off once you wake. Dreams often intensify during periods of internal transformation because the mind processes at night what the waking self isn't ready to face directly. If you've woken up recently feeling like you just lived through something meaningful even if you can't fully remember it, that is not unusual right now. That is your inner world preparing you, and maybe more than anything you've simply felt different. Not sad, not anxious exactly, just different. Like you're standing slightly outside your own life, watching it with new eyes, like something in you has quietly matured, even if the outside world hasn't caught up yet. None of these signs were random, they were preparation. And tonight, under the buck full moon, they finally converge into something you can no longer ignore. 4. The hidden lesson behind your recent challenges. There is a reason this has been hard, Capricorn. You don't need anyone to tell you that the last several months have tested you. You've felt every bit of it. The delays that made no sense, the doors that closed just as you reached for them, the waiting that stretched on longer than you thought you could bear. If you've quietly asked, "Why is this happening to me?" you are not alone, and more importantly, you were never without a reason. Every delay you experienced had a purpose, even the ones that felt cruel in the moment. Saturn, your ruling planet, does not create obstacles to punish you. It creates them to prepare you, to make sure that when opportunity finally does arrive, you are strong enough, wise enough, and steady enough to keep it. Doors that seemed to close were rarely closing on your dreams. More often, they were closing on paths that would have cost you more than they ever would have given. Your strength through this period has not gone unnoticed by the universe, even when it felt unnoticed by everyone around you. Patience is not a passive trait for someone like you. It is one of the most demanding forms of discipline there is. Choosing to keep going without proof that it will work out, choosing to hold your composure when everything in you wanted to break, that is not weakness. That is exactly the kind of strength that only reveals itself under pressure. What you were building this entire time, often without realizing it, was readiness. The version of you sitting here today is not the same version who started this chapter. You are steadier now, less naive but not bitter, more discerning but not closed off. That transformation didn't happen by accident. It happened because of everything you endured, not in spite of it. The hidden lesson in your recent challenges is simple, even if it took months to understand. You are never being punished. You are being prepared for exactly what is arriving next.
5. What the buck full moon is activating. Tonight's moon does not simply illuminate what is ending, it activates what is beginning. And for Capricorn specifically, 4 areas of your life are lighting up in ways you'll likely notice within days, if you haven't already. The first is confidence. Not loud, showy confidence, but the quiet, grounded kind that comes from finally trusting your own judgment again. After a period of second-guessing yourself, of wondering if your instincts could still be relied on, this moon restores something essential. The sense that you know what you're doing, even when you can't predict every outcome. The second is career. Opportunities that have been quietly forming behind the scenes are beginning to surface. This doesn't necessarily mean something dramatic happens overnight. For a sign like yours, meaningful change tends to arrive first as a conversation, an offer, or a shift in direction that only reveals its full significance later. Stay alert over the coming days. What looks small right now may be the beginning of something much larger. The third is financial awareness. This moon encourages clarity rather than impulsiveness, a chance to see your resources, your goals and your habits around money with fresh, honest eyes. For a sign as practical as yours, this kind of clarity is less about sudden wealth and more about finally aligning your financial choices with the life you actually want to build. The fourth, and perhaps most important, is personal transformation. Not the kind that happens to you, but the kind you consciously choose. This moon is activating your ability to decide deliberately who you want to become next, rather than simply reacting to whatever circumstances hand you. Confidence, career, finances, transformation, all four are stirring at once tonight. That is not overwhelming. That is the universe making sure your turning point touches every part of your life that needs it. 6. Love and relationships. In matters of the heart, this buck full moon brings a clarity that Capricorn has quietly been asking for. You are not a sign that falls easily or trusts quickly. Your loyalty runs deep, but it is earned slowly and given carefully. That is exactly why tonight's lunar energy matters so much for your relationships. It strips away confusion and shows you, plainly, who truly belongs in your life moving forward. Some people in your life will stay, not because they were told to, but because their presence has already proven itself through consistency, patience, and genuine care during the hardest parts of your recent chapter. Pay attention to who showed up for you without being asked. That is often the clearest sign of who deserves to remain close. Others, meanwhile, may begin to drift, and this moon makes that easier to accept rather than harder to bear. If someone has only ever been present during easy moments, or if a connection has quietly felt one-sided for longer than you've wanted to admit, tonight's energy brings the emotional honesty to finally see that clearly, without guilt and without needing a dramatic confrontation to justify it. This is also a powerful time for healing emotional wounds, particularly ones tied to trust. If past relationships have taught you to guard your heart more tightly than you'd like, this moon offers gentle permission to soften, not recklessly, but intentionally, with people who have already proven themselves worthy of that softness. Above all, this is a season for recognizing genuine connection when you see it, not performance, not convenience, real, steady, reciprocated care. Capricorn, you have spent so long being the reliable one for everyone else. Tonight's moon asks you to notice who is finally being reliable for you. 7. Career, money, and purpose. Few signs work as hard for their goals as you do, Capricorn, which is exactly why this next season deserves your full attention. The buck full moon is stirring movement in your professional life, and much of it may arrive in ways you didn't originally plan for. Unexpected opportunities are likely to appear in the coming weeks, often through channels you wouldn't have predicted, a conversation you almost skipped, a project you weren't originally considered for, a connection reintroduced into your life at exactly the right moment. Stay open to paths that don't perfectly match the plan you had in your head. Sometimes the universe redirects us towards something better than what we were originally aiming for. This is also a season that may ask you to take calculated risks, not reckless ones, but thoughtful ones that push slightly beyond your comfort zone. For a sign that values security as deeply as you do, risk can feel uncomfortable, but growth and safety rarely occupy the same space for long. Trust the research you've already done, the skills you've already built, And take the step even without a guarantee of the outcome. Long-term success remains, as always, your true strength. While others may chase quick wins, you are naturally built for the slow, steady architecture of lasting achievement. This period rewards that instinct. Whatever groundwork you lay now, a new skill, a new habit, a new direction, has the potential to compound significantly over the months ahead. Purpose, too, is coming into sharper focus. Not just what you do for a living, but why you do it. As opportunities and risks present themselves, let that deeper why guide your decisions. It is the difference between simply building a career, building a life that actually feels like yours. 8. Your spiritual awakening. Beneath the practical, grounded exterior you show the world, Capricorn, there has always been a deeply spiritual side to you. One that rarely gets the attention it deserves because you've spent so much time proving yourself in tangible, measurable ways. This moon changes that focus, even if only temporarily. Tonight, your inner world takes center stage. Trusting your intuition may not come naturally to a sign that prizes logic and evidence, but this period is teaching you that intuition and logic are not actually opposites. Often, your gut instinct is simply your mind processing patterns faster than your conscious thoughts can articulate. When something feels right or feels wrong, before you can explain why, that feeling deserves more weight than you've historically given it. This is also a season for breaking limiting beliefs, particularly ones you may not have even realized you were carrying. Beliefs like, I have to earn rest, or I'm only valuable when I'm producing, or vulnerability is a weakness. These beliefs may have served you once, perhaps even protected you at an earlier point in your life, but carried too far, they quietly limit how much peace, connection, and joy you allow yourself to receive. Connecting with a higher purpose doesn't require religious language if that's not part of your path. It simply means asking yourself, honestly, what you feel called toward beyond obligation and achievement. What would you pursue if no one was watching and success was already guaranteed? That answer, however small or large it feels right now, is worth paying attention to. Your spiritual awakening this season isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally making room for the parts of yourself you've kept quiet for far too long. 9. The next 30 days. The days ahead matter, Capricorn, not because anything is guaranteed, but because how you move through the next 30 days will shape how fully you receive what this turning point is offering you. Focus first on presence over perfection. You are used to planning several steps ahead, but this period rewards staying grounded in what is directly in front of you. Trust that clarity about the bigger picture will arrive in its own time. You don't have to force it all at once. Your daily mindset matters more than you might expect. Small, consistent shifts. Starting your morning with intention rather than immediately reacting to demands. Closing your day by acknowledging even the smallest progress you made build momentum far more powerfully than occasional bursts of motivation ever could. Consider incorporating simple manifestation practices into this period, even briefly. Writing down what you want to release and separately what you want to welcome in can bring surprising clarity. You don't need elaborate rituals. Sometimes a few honest sentences, written without judgment, are enough to set an intention the universe can respond to. Finally, protect your energy carefully over these 30 days. Not every opinion needs your response. Not every request deserves your yes. Not every relationship currently in your life needs to remain there, unchanged. As you move through this turning point, guard your peace the same way you've always guarded your responsibilities, deliberately and without apology. The next 30 days are not about forcing transformation. They are about allowing the transformation already in motion to continue, undisturbed. 10. the final message from the universe, Capricorn. If you've stayed until this moment, there is a reason. The universe rarely delivers its most important messages at the beginning. It saves them for those willing to listen all the way through, the same way you've always been willing to see things through to the end, no matter how long they took. You are entering a powerful new cycle. Not someday, not eventually. Now, tonight, under this buck full moon that was never really about the sky. It was about you, about everything you've carried, released, endured and learned. This cycle isn't asking you to become someone different. It's inviting you to finally become who you've been growing into this entire time. Leave fear behind, even if only a little at first. Fear has kept you cautious, and caution has served you well in many seasons of your life. But this is not a season that rewards hesitation. This is a season that rewards the version of you brave enough to walk through the door that's already opening. Step into your destiny with the same quiet confidence that has carried you through everything else. You don't need permission, you don't need certainty, you simply need to take the next step, trusting that the discipline and strength that got you here will carry you forward too. And above all, trust divine timing, not because everything has made sense. Much of it hasn't, not yet. But because looking back, you'll likely realize that everything, even the hardest parts, arrived exactly when it needed to, preparing you for exactly this moment. This is your turning point, Capricorn, and it begins the instant you choose to believe it. Capricorn, remember this moment. The buck full moon isn't here to punish you. It's here to prepare you. Your turning point begins the moment you choose faith over fear. Every ending you've experienced has been creating space for something greater. Trust yourself, trust the journey, and trust that the universe is working in your favor. If you believe this message found you for a reason, comment, "I accept my turning point" below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next powerful Capricorn reading. Share this with another Capricorn who needs this message today.